A new car in America sold for an average of $49,855 in July, according to Kelley Blue Book. That is the highest any month of 2026 has managed, and it still sits under the record set back in December. A second number is attached to that same car. It is a great deal smaller. Experian tracks what people financing a car signed up for. In the first quarter of 2026, the average new vehicle payment came to $770 a month. Used came in at $531. That 770 is a payment, and that is a narrower thing than it looks. A payment is a financing term. It tells you what a lender was willing to lend and over how long, and it stays silent about what the car does to your money once you own it. So, let us go find the number that is missing. AAA has published a study called Your Driving Costs every year since 1950. The 2025 edition takes the 5 best-selling models in each of 9 categories, 45 cars in total, and prices out what owning one costs. Over 5 years and 75,000 miles, AAA puts the average cost of owning a new car at $11,577 a year. In their own arithmetic, that is $964.78 a month. Now, I want to be careful here, because 2 numbers are about to sit next to each other that must not be added. Those 2 figures are not a bill and a bigger bill. You do not pay both of them. AAA's number already has the finance charge folded inside it. They are 2 ways of measuring the same car. The bigger one counts things the smaller one leaves out. One thing worth saying, because it cuts against the mood of this whole topic, that $11,577 is down. AAA had the same figure at $12,297 a year earlier. Depreciation eased, and the finance charge dropped 15%. So the trend line here is friendlier than the mood around this topic suggests. What is inside AAA's number is the interesting part. 6 separate costs are in there. Depreciation, $4,334 a year. Fuel, which AAA prices at 13 cents a mile, works out to $1,950 across their 15,000 miles. Insurance, $1,694. Maintenance and repairs and tires, 11.04 cents a mile, so $1,656, finance charges, $1,131, and the government's cut for license and registration and taxes, $813. Look at which slice is biggest. I expected fuel to win this. It does not. The insurance premium is not the answer either. The largest single cost of owning a car is the car becoming worth less while it sits in your driveway, and no statement ever arrives to tell you it happened. iSeeCars looked at more than 950,000 5-year-old cars sold between March of 2025 and February of 2026. The average one had shed 41.8% of its value. A window sticker carries no line for that. In dollars, that is $16,571 gone. That is a study average across the whole pile, so it is no forecast for one particular car, and the spread between segments is wide. Trucks held the most value at 34.2% lost. Electric vehicles gave up 57.2%. That reframes the purchase. When you buy a car, the thing you are buying is the difference between what you pay and what it is worth when you are done. The payment is only the schedule you chose for handing over that difference. So if you want a cheaper car, the lever is the value it loses. The monthly payment is the last place you will ever see that lever. There is a way to make any car look affordable. Experian reports the average new car loan now runs 69.5 months. More than a third of them stretch past 6 full years, and a year earlier that share was under a third. A growing group, 3.3%, run past 85 months. That is a 7-year loan on a machine iSeeCars measured giving up 41.8% of its value in 5. Stretching a loan leaves the price untouched and shrinks the payment. Same price, more months, smaller payment. Nothing about the car changed. The calendar did. Which brings us to the trade-in, and to the number in all of this that I found hardest to look at. Edmunds tracks what people owe on the cars they trade in. In the second quarter of 2026, nearly 3 in 10 trade-ins toward a new vehicle were worth less than the loan still sitting on them. The average shortfall came to $6,884. That gap does not disappear. In the Edmunds data, it lands on top of the next loan. Edmunds found those buyers ended up with an average payment of $944 against an industry average of $777. They are projected to pay $16,270 in interest over the life of that loan. The average new vehicle buyer pays $9,811, so you are still paying for the car sitting in the dealer's lot on a loan attached to a car in your driveway. Clear the old loan before you trade, or you will pay for one of those cars twice. Quick note on those two payment figures, because they do not match. Experian counted 770 in the first quarter. Edmunds counted 777 in the second. Two counters, 1/4 apart, telling the same story. All right, none of that helps you on a Saturday afternoon at a dealership, so let me turn it into a number you can use on the lot. Start by separating AAA's 6 costs into 2 piles, because they behave completely differently. Depreciation and finance charges are what the car costs you. Depreciation is the biggest line in the whole study. Neither one arrives as its own bill. The finance charge is buried inside the payment you already write, and the depreciation never announces itself at all. The other 4 do arrive as bills. Insurance, $1,694 a year. Fuel at AAA's 15,000 miles, $1,950. Maintenance and tires, $1,656. Registration and taxes, $813. And this is the pile you can safely put next to a car payment. I told you earlier not to stack AAA's total onto one, and that still stands, because that total contains the depreciation and the finance charge. These 4 contain neither. They sit alongside a payment. The payment is separate. Insurance, fuel, maintenance, and registration on the average new car run $509 a month at AAA's 2025 figures. The same 4 bills come to $6,113 a year before a single dollar of car payment exists. Those bills arrive whether you financed the car or paid cash for it on the spot. So run those numbers in the other direction. Decide what your household can hand a car every month, all in. Subtract the running costs from it. Whatever survives that subtraction is the payment you can support. Run that with your own figure. On a $700 monthly car budget, the payment you can carry is $191. The average payment on a financed new car is $770. $509 is an average across 45 cars, so your own figure will move, and I think it moves the most on insurance and on fuel. The order of the calculation holds no matter whose numbers you use. A few things move that number. Start with the segment. The segment you shop in changes the per-mile cost enormously. AAA prices a small sedan at 55.87 cents a mile. A half-ton pickup runs 98.54. Same road, same miles, 76% more money. How far you drive moves it too, and it moves in a direction worth sitting up for. AAA publishes the same car at 3 mileages, and the cost per mile goes up as you drive less. 20,000 miles a year comes to 66 cents. 15,000, 77 cents. 10,000 miles a year, and you are at $1 a mile, because the insurance and the registration and the value loss arrive whatever the odometer does. And then there is the trade-in. Edmunds compared the buyers who walked in owing money against everyone else, and both the payment and the interest came out higher. So before you go anywhere near a lot, spend 5 minutes with a phone. Get an insurance quote on the specific car you are considering, because that line ran $1,694 a year in AAA's averages, and yours could land anywhere. Work out your own fuel and upkeep from the miles you drive in a normal year. Then take your all-in monthly figure, subtract what those two come to, and shop against the remainder. Notice what that last step does. You are picking the payment last, deliberately, once the costs you can actually count are already off the table. The figure at the very top of this video is worth one more look on the way out. The average new car sold for $49,855 in July. The average 5-year-old car in the iSeeCars study had given up 41.8% of what it was worth. Somewhere between those two facts sits the real cost of the decision, and the monthly payment describes neither one. Run your own subtraction before somebody runs it for you. And that's the honest answer. No hype, no noise. If it helped, hit subscribe, and the next one comes right to you. Skip the noise, build real wealth. See you in the next one.